Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever in the world you may be. Hey, an exciting show today. We're going to learn how to do the Bob Fosse choreography of the Aloof. I wish I could do that. Well, um, I was just watching that the other day and I was just remarking to myself, what a genius. What a genius. If you haven't ever seen the movie Sweet Charity, or if you haven't watched that scene um, recently, I highly recommend it just to um, just for the cinematography and the choreography of the dance numbers. Oh, brilliant. We will do something much tamer today. Today we are actually uh, going to tackle the next move in the nine form choreography, the cloud hands. Cloud hands. So it may or may not be a short class. Who knows? But we'll start off with a little bit of a review of what we've got so far, and we'll see where we go from there. How's that sound? Okay. And let me make a brief adjustment right here. And oh, we have to do a little quick check on the camera setup. So, which direction am I pointing as far as you're concerned? Is that left? Left. Excellent. All right then. Well then, let's start with a little sinking of the chi, shall we? One more time. Beautiful. Left foot steps to the left and open the door. Sliding out with the right hand into repulse monkey. Brush knee. Sit back and float the hand across the horizontal. Fingertips point over the left shoulder. Brush knee. Sit back and slide the hand over the horizontal. Now the tricky right hand circling around to be on top of the holding the ball, part horse's mane. Sit back and float the hand across the horizontal, left hand on top, parting horse's mane. And there you go. That's what we've got so far. Before we proceed, let me just check for questions.
on brush knee and repulse monkey, what is the target for your hand when you are pulling it in? Where should it be? At shoulder level, ear level?
When you're pulling it, you mean here?
Correct.
This part. Gotcha. All right. So this is a little bit. Keep all this junk out of my pockets here. This is a little bit connected with the soup that we talked about last week. So in your, I feel like I want to change my camera here so you can see this. So every time that an arm is extended out in away from the center line, um, I want to qualify because there are sometimes exceptions to everything, but let's just say on a general principle, every time that the arm is extended out, it's extended out into the bow. It is extended out into a curved position. So this reaching out to the side here is not actually that straight. It's always bent. It's always at a 45-degree angle from the shoulder, at a 45-degree angle from the elbow. So that's its extension, right? Now, what would happen if I simply dropped this angle at the shoulder here so that the elbow lowered itself down in space? Right? Dropping that down, and when it drops down so that the wrist is just at shoulder height, right? That's the angle. And then, because the angle of the elbow has decreased slightly, you want to open it up again. So this is what happens sometimes is that, I say the bow is the optimal position, but it changes all the time. It's flexing, it's opening and closing. When it closes, it wants to open up again. When it opens, it wants to close up again, so that you keep coming back to that optimal position. Does that make sense? It's a great question. And it can be a little, confusing. Like, where is it supposed to be? It's supposed to be out. It's supposed to be in. Are you trying to position the hand? And the thing is, like, this particular brush knee is a really interesting name for this movement. It's created lots of confusion and people keep trying to change the name, like they call it brush knee and push, right? But that's not the real name of the movement. The name of the movement is to brush knee and twist. Or you could flip flop it and say, the way that Chinese sentences are constructed, they're often constructed as subject comment, not subject verb object, but subject comment, right? So here we have brushing the knee. And then what is the comment? It means you brush the knee by twisting. So I'm not trying to position this hand so that I can push or brush everything. I'm getting my hands, I'm just dropping that angle and then twisting. And that's how it all happens. The twist is what makes it happen. Right? So I drop that shoulder down, which makes the elbow drop down, right? And then twist. And during the twist, I open up the elbow a little bit again. I've waited 4 years to teach you this. We had to go through all that other Michigas to get to the point where this would make sense. So let me just say that one more time, just for posterity. Right? So you're getting ready to do brush knee. The shoulder angle drops, which lowers the elbow. Then twist, and during the twist, the elbow opens up again. And when we're talking about the opening and closing, it's that much. It's just so little, just a few degrees. Right, Bill, perfect. So then in the final position, you are back in the bow again. Right? When how much do you open? So I said, the shoulder drops, which drops the elbow. You begin to twist, and during the twist, you open up that elbow again. How much do you open up the elbow? Enough so that in the final position, you have restructured the bow. That's where it stops. Now, in interactive Tai Chi, like that bow shape right here should provide you with the strongest structure to push the dude over. If it's not strong enough, you can't fix it by pushing out the arm farther. The way that you would fix that is in your step. Like I have to step close enough so that by the time I finished, it would be just the right amount of structure, right amount of strength. That makes sense? Okay. Let's do that again. So this is another wonderful thing about doing multiple repetitions. So if we were to just isolate this one movement, from the end of my repulse monkey, right? So let's start with our first brush knee. Okay. Twist and open up. Now, what am I going to do is go back to the beginning. The shoulder drops. I begin to twist. I open up the angle, and maybe I'm like, oh, well, that was too much. Okay, so let me try it again. I get another try at it. Elbow or shoulder drops, twist, elbow opens. Okay, that was better. So last week, I think I talked about the little golden nugget that I had learned, which was about rotating that elbow under. This is how I began to get good, better at getting that elbow in the right place. It's just by doing it over and over again and say, oh, that elbow's too far out. Let's turn that in. Yeah, that's better. By the way, this is not something I'm trying to tell you to do. That's how I learned mine. Yours might be a different thing, like how much the elbow angle is, might be just getting the twist to happen, focusing on whatever your one thing is. Does that make sense? All right. Let's do it one more time from the top. Sinking the chi. Opening the door. Repulse monkey. Brush knee. Another one. Sit back. Drag. Part horse's mane. Sit back. Drag. Another part horse's mane. Nice, you guys. Terrific. All right. Well, that brings us to today's movement, which is cloud hands. And what I wanted to do, which is why I was watching the Aloof, is work on some subtle footwork kind of stuff. Now, if you go back and watch the Aloof, they have this pattern of movement where things are going like this from side to side, right? And that's very similar to the footwork that we have in cloud hands, right? So if we get our feet closer together here, I would have take the right heel and lift it up, and then heel down, lifting up the left heel. And we have this back and forth sort of catwalk kind of motion here. And it is a process of shifting the weight from one foot to the other foot, right? And the thing about this is it doesn't stop. So it doesn't like end and wait and then go to the other one and wait. It's like continuous. Dun, 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 dun. Like that's the footwork here. So now when the feet are farther apart, it looks a little bit different, but it is exactly the same kind of process. I've got this heel down, it's going to come up, and the other heel is going to. It's the same kind of weight shifting process. Does that make sense so far? Now, we add one more thing to it, and that is if my feet are apart, I got to step together, and if my feet are together, I got to step apart. Let's have a little bit more room here. So I'm going to start off with my feet apart, and then I'm going to together, apart. Now, we only actually have to do this once in the 9 form. Together, then I go back the other way. So I do a U-turn, and it's together, apart. And that's the whole choreography. But we can keep on going. We can just start off feet apart, and then I gotta go together, apart, reverse, together, apart, reverse, together, apart. One more time. Reverse, together, apart, and stop right there. If you think this is bad, imagine Bob Fosse. You got it easy with me. All right. Well, give that a try. Play with that for a minute, and then we'll come back and we'll add some more things to it. By the way, let me pause for just a second. This is the time when I usually go like this. You know, all your head there. If you find yourself going like, okay, I'm at that moment again, go back to this. This is the basis for the whole footwork here. It's just this. So let me point something out here. In the flow classes, in the flow sessions, I will make it a habit of exaggerating this movement. So I put in more lean. I do that on purpose to really get into the whole feeling of it, use the whole body. In the Tai Chi, in the traditional choreography, this is very subtle, right? So this is, where's Jahan? Dr. J, where does all your energy go? Down, right? So that it's down, down, down. It is a weight shift, but it doesn't really have that big a leap. It is just down and down and down. And even when I'm stepping farther apart and down and stepping together and stepping and down and stepping together. So the lean is an exaggeration that we do to get a bigger feeling and flow. There's nothing wrong with the lean, but the traditional way is to work on up and down rather than leaning side to side. Does that make sense? All right, so give that a try. You guys are familiar with the saying, "Let sleeping dogs lie." Familiar with this thing? Yes. So this also applies here to this. When you do your step together or your step apart, it's as though there's a sleeping dog under there. Don't disturb the sleeping dog. Nice and easy. Sleeping dog under my foot. This is, by the way, every class, I have a goal of seeing how many metaphors I can actually mix in one class. How many obscure references can I make to something? All right, lovely. Okay, now the the footwork here, the aloof here, the aloof footwork here, you'll notice is a parallel step. The toes are actually pointing straight forward and the feet are stepping parallel sideways. Okay? Unlike stepping into a bow step, which has a channel. So there's no channel in your cloud hand step. It's on the same, it's like I'm on the same board the whole time here. The previous position is the end of parting course's main. And in this position, the feet are not parallel, right? So I'm in a bow step. I've got a channel. I've got one toe pointing this way and one toe pointing 45 degrees out there. So the first thing that I have to do, in addition to my aloof step, is turn the toes. Okay? So facing to the right, bow step, begin to weight shift, change left foot or back foot and front foot, aloof and step, aloof and step. So just that first part. I've got to change back foot, front foot, aloof and step, aloof and step. One more time, just for good luck here. Adjusting back foot and front foot, aloof and step, aloof and step. And I'm just, in case you're taking notes, I've just turned an adjective into a verb, just so that for my English majors in the crowd there. But wait, there's more, because at the same time as I'm changing my feet and doing my aloof step, I'm also, as you can see, I'm also twisting the body because in the final position of parting horse's mane, my hips were open to 45 degrees, right? So that's the ending point of parting horse's mane. Now I've got to bring them back to 0. I open the door position. And then they stay pointing forward. These hips aren't getting crazy. They're just pointing straight forward from my aloof, 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 aloof. By the way, that's not real. That's not true. I'm going to change that in just a second, but that's where we start. So back foot, front foot, twisting the body, bottom, bottom. But wait, there's more. After I get back to my open the door position, my 0, I keep going, right? All the way to this 45. And then when I do my aloof, it's going to this 45. Step into this 45. Now, we've done this exercise in the past. I'm going to do it a little bit. Forget your footwork and just go like this for a minute. Lovely, lovely. Now I want you to imagine employing your deep sensory imagination that there is a paintbrush stuck right in your belly button and right pointing out into the space there. And I want you to do a little exercise with me while I put one finger on the tip of your paintbrush and just turn your paintbrush to follow my finger. Your paint, not your finger, your paintbrush. I used to do this all the time. I was like, this is how people do meditation. All right, everybody can see my watch. Right? Looking at now in a big classroom full of people that are live together, you could tell that people were saying yes, but they're looking at me. And I'm like, no, my watch is over here. Right? So you're not looking at my watch. Right? This is the way that people do meditation. They think that they're doing meditation, but what they're actually doing is thinking about doing meditation. Right? And then for those people who are just really doing it, they're just thinking about doing meditation. You actually have to look at the watch. You actually have to imagine the paintbrush and move just the paintbrush here. Yes? So follow the finger and move your paintbrush. Let's try this image. Instead of a paintbrush, your belly button has an LED light inside of it. Now, just exposing that LED light, I just want you to shine the LED light onto my fingertip. Now, so Monica, I need to pick on Monica again. This is 2 weeks in a row. This is awesome. As I see you in the camera, when your hand does this, I can no longer see the LED light in your belly button because you're covering it up. So I want you to show me the belly button. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. All right, so follow the finger with your LED light. Okay, now we're talking here. So no hands, no shoulders, just bellies. Because what you want to do is I want you to Adjust the back foot, adjust the front foot, keep on turning that belly button to the corner. Fosse, turn the belly button to the corner. Aloof, turn the belly button to the corner. Reverse direction, turn the belly button to the corner. Aloof, turn the belly button to the corner. Step, turn the belly button to the corner. Yes. Okay, try that for a second because there's more. Transfer of weight from one foot to the other is aided by that rotation. Each foot that is receiving the weight is actually like a screw going down into the ground. So the rotation goes towards the receiving leg. Moreover, the rotation begins as the weight goes to the receiving leg and ends precisely at the moment that the weight is completely on the receiving leg. So if I'm turning to this direction here, this foot is receiving the weight and I'm turning towards it, turning towards it, turning towards it, turning, finishing. Now my weight is completely onto this foot and my belly button is completely rotated towards the 45. Does that make sense? Yeah, you'll want to go back and watch the replay on that because that was a technical shift and man, that's an awful lot of kinesiology right there. Let's see if we can tie that together. From the end of Parting Horse's Mane, I'm going to adjust the back foot, adjust the front foot. I'm turning all the while, and then aloof, step. Turning back and the right foot receiving, finish, and step. Turning back and receiving on the left foot, finish. Now this one, there's no step because I'm going to reverse direction. And back to the right, boom, together, aloof and turn, step, finishing. I can read your minds. How do you do this? Excuse me. Only 10,000 more times. That's all. Just, maybe 9,000. That's all. So here's a little check. If you're like working on this, I'm like, am I getting closer at all? So pause and ask yourself where your belly button is pointed. At that moment, wherever your belly button is pointed, wherever that LED light is shining, should be directly over the knee of the weight-bearing foot. If you happen to pause in the middle, then it should be between the two knees because the weight is equally distributed, right? But if I'm like, okay, so I'm turning, and I find myself in this position, it's like, oh, I'm actually over the wrong foot. My light should be over the knee of because that's the corner I'm in. So I need to be on that foot. Yes. I finished my rotation. My belly button is pointing that direction. That's the foot that's bearing away. Yes. Does that make sense? Okay. If all that wasn't fucking enough, we have to add hands. So here we are at the end of parting horse's mane. I'm going to adjust the back foot, adjust the front foot, and begin my turn. But while I'm doing that, these two hands have to change position. So the left hand at the end of the final parting horse's mane is by the hip, palm down. It is going to float upwards, palm up, and then rotate. As I step together, hands change. Aloof. Now, the fortunate thing is that once I make my change here, which is vertical, it's just an up and down. Once I make that change, I don't have to do anything more. I just like let that float, and the rotation does the rest of the movement for me. Change, and the rotation does the movement for me. That's reverse direction. Change, the rotation does the movement. Change, the rotation does the movement. As you might remember, I had to move Dan out into the tent because the Dan stand broke. But if Dan was here, what I'd be able to show you is that the top hand of your cloud is like smacking him in the face. And the bottom hand of your cloud is like giving him a push in the belly. Okay? So those things happen together. While I'm smacking him in the face, I'm also pushing him in the belly. Same thing. Then if that wasn't enough, adding insult to injury, I change hands and do it the other way. Change. Right. And I've got all the emphasis, I've got all the energy on that with the rotation. So whichever direction I'm rotating, that's the hand that's smacking him across the face. Yes. Yes. Wow. It's coming together. Okay. Let's do this. Let's go back to the final brush knee. So facing the right side here, brush knee. Now sit back and drag that hand across the horizontal, circling the right hand around on top, hard horse's mane, number 1. Sit back. Float that hand across the horizontal. Left hand on top, hard horse's mane. Stay right there, changing the hands, fix the back foot, the front foot, aloof, and step, changing the hands. Aloof and step, changing the hands. Aloof. Now just change the hands. Don't step because we're going to reverse direction. Aloof and step, changing the hands. Aloof and step, changing the hands. Aloof and end, because that's all we do in this choreography. To this way, to that way. And that's it. Oh, one more thing. Let's just try one more time. Once again, breathing just really helps. So Let's see if we can do it more time with the breathing thing. From the last brush knee position. See the play? Parting horse's name. Changing the hands, fixing the back foot, fixing the front foot, aloof and step, changing the hands. Aloof and step, changing the hands. Aloof and change the hands with no step. Now aloof and step, changing the hands. Aloof and step, changing the hands. And finish. Yes, nice. All right, take a few minutes to practice that, and see what that gets us. Very, very nice. Beautiful. Boris, what you got here is yeah, remembering that it's a, and I said the top hand is smacking him across the face. I should clarify that that's always a backhand across the face. Right. So if you find yourself like giving him a slap like that, like no, backhand across it. Right. Each time that you make your U-turn, just remember that it's always U-turn starts when feet are apart. So it's like take as many steps you like. You want to take 14, day 14, but yeah, at some point you're going to end, and the feet will be apart, and then you go U-turn, and then it steps together going in the other direction. So whenever you want to do that, pick a moment when the feet are apart. Sarah, your room is so colorful. I just love it. Just so it's like um shimmering with all those colors. Yeah, just love it. I know. Okay. Let's see if I can make this work. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Let's do the whole thing from the beginning. Just why not? Ah, Dun, 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 then sing the chi. Dun, 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 and open the door. Repulse the monkey. And brush knee. Our horse's mane. And cloud hands. I adjust the back foot and the front foot while my hands are changing. Aloof. Step and change hands. Aloof. Step and change hands. Now, don't step. Just change hands. Reverse. Aloof and step and change of those hands. And then aloof and step and change of those hands. And then don't step because that's the end. All right. Come on back in. Have a seat. There we go. Cloud hands is a a Cloud hands is not as complex a series of movements as many of the other movements that we learn are. However, it faces a weird direction. So many people get confused with this movement, the timing of the hands and everything. So if you find yourself going, God damn it, I just can't figure it, like you are not alone. This is very mind bending for most students here. But at the end of the day, the movement itself is not that complex. It's point your belly button, shift the weight, and just the hands go up and down. And then it's point the belly button, shift the weight, and the hands go up and down. Like that's a very simple series of actions, right? So it means is when we get confused with this movement, we're trying to make too much out of it. Right? It's less than what. So this is the paradox of the way that the adult human mind often works. Something is not right, so that must mean I haven't got enough pieces. I got to add more, got to do more to fix it. When in fact, the solution here is usually do less and it will fix it. And Cloud Hands then becomes a real lesson for life. As we age and we accumulate all that stuff that we've learned over time and people telling us you got to learn this thing and you got to remember that thing and you got to do this thing better, right? Then when we face a challenge in life, our go-to, our default is let me figure out how to do more, when in fact the solution is actually do less, simplify.
Part of my problem is I have seen it done so many different ways. As I watch other people, they turn their hands a different way. They go higher, they go closer to their belly. Just so many different things that are different. And unlike the others, which are all close, when I've seen others do it, this one is a bunch of different ways. And I try to follow you, and I'm thinking, oh, did I move my hand right? Did I turn this right?
Well, first of all, obviously, my way is the right way. Duh. Um, so there's two ways of that's a really good question. There's two ways to determine whether something is right. There's two contexts that are that are appropriate, that are relevant to what is right and what is wrong. The first way is in a practical application setting, does it work? If it works, it's the right way. If it doesn't work, it's not the right way. Right? The other context that makes it relevant is in representing a particular style. So if I'm trying to say I'm going to represent or portray or mimic this particular style, then within that style, there is the right way, the original way, the choreographed way. Right? Now, the 9 form was created and choreographed by the Yang family, by not one of the disciples or extended parts of the Yang family, but the lineage holder of the Yang family. And so the way that they do this movement is the right way for the style, from the creator of this choreography. Does that make sense? And so there's some little details that we didn't cover today, but we'll have all the time in the world to turn that into a golden nugget someday, right? But for the most part, what I'm sharing with you guys in this class, and that's, by the way, that's Forrest has got a great question. This applies to like every movement, as you will. You'll go and look and you'll see, but so and so does it this way, and so it's like, okay, like that's now outside of what is right and what is not right is like, what do you like? What makes your body hum? Like that's where we go with the flow method. The flow method is not about what is right. All the time we talk about there's no right and wrong. There's no you have to do it this way. There's no you got to follow me this way. It's all about, like I'm just modeling. In your mimicking of my model, you get to find where your body's humming, and that's what's right. Okay? But those are sort of different contexts. Now, part of the reason why I teach this class every year, right? I do the 9 form every year, is because, like I said, it is the foundation of how I began to make our flow choreographies. And like last week, we did this together with multiple repetitions, and I could see the light bulbs going off in your head. Like you could see how this is the basis of that. Right. So we learn the 9 form in sort of its original authentic representation to get the basics, to get the foundation of it. And from there, we can open it up and expand it and be creative with it and be fussy with it. Like in the beginning, though, like the thread of this class is really always coming back to what was the way that the Yang family invented and designed this routine. Does that make sense? Okay. So I know I'm beating the dead horse. So if you're like, I'm going to do the 9 form, or you'd say the 8 form. I'm going to do the 8 form because apparently most people don't know how to count in Tai Chi land. So I'm going to do the 8 form, and you would do, which 8 form are you doing? I'm doing the original 8 form. Then you would do it like we're learning it in this class. You say, I'm doing my version of the 8 form, or I'm doing Ted's version of the 8 form. Then you do one of those other things that you've seen online. Does that make sense? I guess that's fine. Just Ted's 8, not Young Jun's 8. All right. Any other questions, requests, comments, confusions? Okay. Announcements. As I put out in the yesterday's email, the sign up for the 101 course is now open. I know that a couple people wrote to me and said I had problems going to, I need to add more tags to cover more of the different kinds of memberships people have, but you should have no problem getting to that link now and signing up for it. If you're on an Evolve membership or a post certification membership or an unlimited membership, or whatever you got there, there's no cost to it. If you don't have one of those, you just can't get to the sign up page. But the sign up page is really just about putting your name on the class roster. Right? So it's a zero charge. And you can go, and you should do that now, even if you've taken the course before. It's been rewritten. It's got a new focus. I would love to see a big group of people there. And this is also the time when, if you have friends, I'm leaning in here so that you can see how serious I am about it. If you have friends who is like, I think I'd like to take that course someday, then this is the time, because I'm only doing these live versions of this class once a year. Right? So this is when we're doing the live class. All the replays are still there, so people will join and do the self-study portion of the class at all kinds of times of the year, but they'll be watching the replays. This is just once a year that I do the live version. What else is coming up? If you've been waiting for Fire Fusion, the sign up for Fire Fusion is also live, and Audra's going to be teaching that. And then the other thing is today, in all the free time that I have, actually, this is my work agenda for the day. We're working on the replays page. So if you're looking for Studio Flow replays, and you go to that page, you'll see it says under construction. So hopefully it won't be done by the end of the day, but you won't be able to get to any of the replays today. Have to wait till tomorrow to do that. But it's going to have a whole new look and be easier to navigate. And they'll be separated out into all of the Easy Flow with Jehan's page, and all of the Easy Flow with Karen's replays, and all of the seated flows in one link that you click to and you get to that. So a little bit easier to navigate. And those are my announcements. Coming up on Thursday, standing on one foot. Just saying. Okay, that's all I got. Get out of here. Go have a great day.